Hello whiskey lovers and welcome to another one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings. Today I'm returning to my beloved Auchentoshan and I want to talk to you about this one, a 21-year-old, because this is a special story. As you know, I am the Toshan man, so I pride myself in having tried many Auchentoshans, and I have over 150 so far. But this one I had not yet tried until recently. I was at this birthday tasting. Chris invited me to his birthday tasting, and he poured 7 drams blind. And so we had to guess what whiskey this is. And when this one was poured, I have to be honest, my first inclination was, Glendronach, or maybe a sherried Blair Athol, or who knows, something else, but at least an Aberlour maybe, but something rather sherried. Little did I know, or did I expect, oh, it's the last of the bottle. Oh, what a pity. Anyway, little did I expect this to be an Auchentoshan, so you can imagine my surprise and my chagrin when Chris, birthday boy, comes out with the bottle in his hand to show us what we were tasting. I was like, what? This is my Auchentoshan, and I didn't even recognize it. Now, in my defense, this is a bottling that I have not yet tried before. This is an older one, and one of the very first 21-year-olds that Auchentoshan released. And it is very, very different from later expressions that I have tried. The expression nowadays, for example, in my opinion, has much more bourbon cask matured Auchentoshan in the mix. While in this older version, the very first one, there is plenty more sherry cask in the mix, in my opinion, and I will explain in a minute why. So this is one of the very first 21-year-olds. It is distilled, the year of distillation is mentioned on the label. It is distilled in 1973. That means that this was bottled, end of 94, beginning 95. So when this was distilled, it's funny to think, I was a toddler of 3-year-old. Wow. Anyway, so an old classic Auchentoshan, 21-year-old, distilled in 1973, and it is bottled at an ABV of 43%. It's got this beautiful bronze color. That also, it's a bit darker than Auchentoshan from nowadays. A beautiful bronze color. Let's find out if it's as good as today's offerings. On the nose. Like I said, the bourbon cask is there. I do get some coconut, some vanilla, some lemon, but underneath, no, actually it's dominating is the raisins, the dates. The sherry influence on this one is clearly dominating. Wow, it's some marzipan, some dark caramel. This is lovely, and it's not as delicate as I am used to from Auchentoshan nowadays. Even though this is still, obviously, already triple distilled. Auchentoshan has been triple distilling every single drop since 1923, so that hasn't changed. But this is a dark nose. It's not deep sherry, obviously, but still, and hence my confusion blind with maybe an Aberlour or a sherried Blair Athol, or even a young Glendronach. Alright, on the palate then. Very creamy. You can almost chew this. Wow. Again, it's dark and it's succulent, fruity. It's a good continuation of the nose. I get several layers here. It begins with almonds and some blood oranges maybe, and then kicks in some herbal notes. I don't know, there's a slight bitterness of the wood at the end, but it's not disturbing. It's actually quite balancing, because you have this heavy sweetness, dark sweetness from the sherry casks in the mix. Then you have the citrusy notes from the bourbon cask and the vanilla as well. And then there's this herbal, slightly bitter side from the oak. Very good indeed. On the finish then. Wow. Medium long. It stays sweet. The bitterness disappears, and you have this succulent, dark fruitiness in the finish that lingers quite. It's not medium long, it's long. It continues. It's lovely. Wow, I have to say, they sure don't make them like this anymore. And even though today's offering of Auchentoshan 21-year-old is one of my favorite go-to drams, I have to admit, this earlier version that they no longer produce, this distillate from the early 70s, wow, is something else. And lucky for you, you can still find this, not on the shelves of course, but I often see it appear in auctions and it sells for less than 100 euros. So whenever I see that kind of bottle, I grab it, because this is really worth your time. And I do believe, like I said before, that there is a little bit more sherry cask Auchentoshan in the mix than nowadays, which would make sense, because sherry casks are much more expensive than bourbon casks. So it would make more sense with all the companies being more, careful with their expenditures. Let me put it that way. That was a very polite way of putting it. Yes, I think. But that's all for this Whiskey Rambling. And I hope to see you in one of Mark's Whiskey Ramblings real soon. And until then, may them all be with you.